strategies for acquisition or property acquisition in the United Kingdom and Nigeria. Now, firstly, I'm going to start with the one in Nigeria. So, in the UK. So we're talking about the property buying process in England and Wales. Now, the first thing to do, I would recommend, and I remember when I started learning the process in about 2003, 2004, this is where they normally start off with. Now, the most important thing is, what is your credit score? So I'm looking at purchasing a property, and I want to know, am I going to be viable to get the facility required to buy? Except you're a cash buyer. If you're a cash buyer, this means nothing to you. But for a few of us, or some of us, we need what a credit score is. Now, basically, a credit score is a number between, let's say, 1 to 999. And that number represents how lenders score you. That is what they see about you and how they think you're going to be creditworthy. So it's just basically the credit score is how lenders see you and how viable you are and whether you are a risk or it's safe to give you the facility or not. So basically that's the first thing. Now, some people might have good credit score, which gives them a low credit rate or credit, which gives them a low credit facility. And sometimes when people have bad credit score, they might be able to get the loan, but it's at higher interest rate. So that's what we want to know. And we can always correct or make up for our credit scores depending on what we want to do. A lot of the time we can use Experian, Equifax, and all that one. But a lot of companies tend to use Experian where they see them at the top. And if you have a bad credit, anyway, as we go along, I can tell you what to do to sort of correct that and mitigate against that. And you can easily bring that down, and then you're able to get the facility that you need. So basically, that's what a credit score is. Now, apart from that, the next thing you need to do is if you want to be buying a property soon, you need to establish what your moving cost is. Because you're going to sort of put it in how much you're going to be loaning sometimes or how much you're going to be borrowing. So if I'm going to be moving from here to Sheffield, I'm buying in Sheffield, I live in Basingstoke, or let's say London to Sheffield, I need to know what my expenses are going to be. So sometimes I can take it as part of the mortgage, or sometimes if I have the money, I need to know what it's going to cost me to be able to do that. So again, we look at the legal fees, the lenders fee, removal, and brokers. All those fees add up, but I'm going to be talking about them as we move on. So when you want to move, you don't want any nasty surprises. You want to be ready. So just sort of put all this together, know what you're doing, be prepared for it, and then you know what you're doing, and then you're able to move on from there. Now, once you're ready, the first thing most people do, because if you go to anybody and say you want to buy property, they're going to ask you that, how much is the property you're about to buy? How much? Or if you go to a bank, how much do you want? So assuming you want to buy a property for $500,000, and based on your work, your deposit, or your earnings, you need to know how much you can borrow. So straight away, the recommendation is that you speak to a mortgage broker. Now then they're going to sit down with you and do all the calculations and tell you how much you can borrow. So sometimes, depending on the situation, it used to be 4 or 5 times of what your salary is. So assuming you earn 60,000 or 100,000, if it's 4 times that, it could be 400,000 or $500,000 that they could borrow. I remember before the American crisis, people were given loans and mortgages without any checks. And that's what caused the financial crisis, because people could buy 5, 10 houses and they weren't able to make a repayment for that because no background check was done. But here, they'll sort of make the check and then look at how much you earn, what your expenses are, what your income is going to be, what your monthly mortgage repayment is, and then they'll tell you how much they're able to sort of give you. So if you sort of ask all of this at the start, then you know how much you're able to borrow, because you might want to buy a house for 500,000 and you have a deposit of 100,000 and all they can borrow you is 250,000 or 300,000. Then it will make you know where you stand and then how much property value you want to go for. Please, if I'm going too fast, if there's anything, please let me know. Or if you ask the question, I'll be able to answer them at the end, please. So the advice given will let you know where you stand and how to borrow anyway. Now then you begin the search. So assuming, like I said, I want to go to Sheffield, few things determine where people buy. Most of the time, for us, we look at where we want to stay. But there are certain other factors that determine where we should be looking for. Number one, the schools around there, especially when you have children. The school determines a lot, because if you, when you look at the schools around there, you look at the primary schools, you look at the secondary schools, universities are not that important, because what we call, by then they are adults, they can go anywhere. But the primary and secondary school, if you live in an area where the what's it called, the government scoring and process of the school is low, then that means the level of education that your children are going to be having is going to be low. You want to look at the people that live around there. You want to look at the rail transportation, the network links, where the stores are, where the shopping center is. Because there are some places that you live where your shopping center, you're going to be traveling and driving to go there. So you want to look how much it's going to take me, to how much time am I going to be spending on fuel, to travel, going to work, where you're going to be working, and all those things. And you want to look at the social amenities around there. You want to look at a lot of other factors that will benefit you. So apart from buying a property, the facilities around there, it's very important as well. So if you speak to, by the time you go to speak to, if you're not looking online, if you're not walking through a broker, you're speaking to agents, the agents around there will be able to guide you and tell you the things around there. I remember before I came to the agent store, I was looking at a place called UO West. And when I went there, then my daughter wanted horse riding lessons, and they were telling me they had stables around there, they had some footballer living around there, they had some things. So your local or the local agents around there will be able to tell you the facilities around there, so that you are able to make your what's it called, your decision. If you want a private school, far or not too far, if you ask them, they will be able to give you all this information, so you can make the best informed decision that you need to make. So the estate agents, they will tell you what you need. Just tell them you know what you want, speak to them, and they should be able to give you an idea of how things happen around there. And it is very, very important to arrange a viewing. A lot of people buy properties, well, before this time, now you can have an online view. You don't have to go there, but it's always advisable to actually make an appointment to actually view. Remember, before we bought this place, my missus actually viewed almost 100 properties, because I didn't have the time. I just didn't have the time. And she will view, then when there's one that she says, this is good, because most of the time, it's the women that determines, they live in the home most of the time, so they determine, well, so I told her, go and check which one you want. When you see, let me know. So the few ones that you saw, we go there, and we put in a bid. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't get it, until we came here, she liked everything about it, and I just said, okay, then we went through the process. Most of the time, they're looking at the kitchen, they're looking at the bathrooms, they're looking at so many things. I'm just looking for a space, I'm going to sleep and get out, that's all. But women, they want the kitchen, they want the bathroom, they want so many facilities. Most men just want a place where they sleep. So make sure it meets your need, it suits you. And then it's like actually, and the area as well is safe. Because again, when we look for areas, if you live in a place where it's not very, very safe, or it's not deemed as safe, you can get most of this information online if you do a quick search or you speak to the agent. If it's not deemed safe, your insurance is going to be high, your car insurance is going to be high, and then because of additional risk that you might not phantom it. So please ensure that you do all the search, speak to people, look online, do a lot of research, and then you're going to be fine. Then after you've found the property and you feel it meets your criteria, then you make an offer. Now the fact that you make an offer does not mean it's going to be accepted. I remember the one at UO West, we made an offer to this property, very, very lovely property. You weren't accepted, and then we're going on with it. So most of the time when you make the offer, if it's acceptable, fine. Then you go to your bank, they give you a decision in principle, meaning that, yes, once you get this, they might give you a 3 month period, most of the time, maximum 3 months, and they say within 3 months, this offer stands. So you go out there, look for it, then if you get an offer and it's accepted, then you can tell the bank, and then you can go from there. Hope I'm not going too fast. Hope it's not too fast.
No, you're fine.
Okay, thank you very much. So most of the time, once you do this, then you want to get your solicitors ready, because once you make an offer, most of the time, as it's accepted, then it becomes a verbal contract. Now the difference is this: if you now this is most of the time for houses that have been built. Now if it's a new build, if you go there before it's built and you buy off plan, for the time they ask you to make a deposit. So they will have told you exactly how it's going to be. Then the advantage of a new build is that sometimes you can add certain things to it. You can tell them where you want sockets, you can ask them to put more sockets, you can tell them the color, you can tell them what you want to do. But the thing is that once you go in there and speak to them and you see a property that you like, they might ask you to pay a deposit. So once you pay a deposit, it might be 500 or 1,000 or 2,000. So at the reception, even before it's built at all, so you've actually paid 1,000 or 2,000, depending on what is asked. Sometimes, if you decide to pull out at the end, it's not refundable. So please make sure that it's one of the ones that it's what you want. Because at the end of the day, if you know what you want, you might lose that amount of money. And sometimes with the new build, sometimes they have their broker, they have their team, they have a broker ready, they have a solicitor ready, and you can use them. Now, the advantage of using the builder, solicitor, and broker is if there's a delay, they can deal with it from their side. Now, if you have an outside solicitor, if something happens, because most of the things, they are within a particular time frame, sometimes they might tell you that you're going to lose money and you don't want to. But most of the time, solicitors know how it works, especially if you use very good solicitors that have done it before. They know what the time frame is, and they're not going to let you lose your money. So yes, so you're negotiating, everybody's negotiating, and then you're ready to go. So now once you've agreed the sale, that's the next thing. Once you've agreed the sale, so your estate agent or both parties will come in with the solicitors, then it becomes a solicitor's market. So your solicitor speaks to the seller solicitor, then they will only inform you as things move on. Then you receive what they call a memorandum of sale to confirm that yes, they've accepted your offer, and then you're only waiting for a contract. Most of the time, this doesn't take more than 8 weeks, depending. If you're paying cash, sometimes the week is done and that's it. So most of the time, like I said, if it's a new build, you use a solicitor. Sometimes, if you're using an estate agent, sometimes they require you or they recommend a good solicitor to you. And most of the people they recommend, because they would have tried so many people, they are very, very good. So you can just use their solicitor, and then yes. But the thing is this: please try and ask around, shop around, and get the best, because it is yours. You're going to be paying for it. You don't want to be paying above board. Some of the people they recommend might be very good, but they might charge you because they know that once you buy in the house, a lot of people are desperate, and then they want to make as much as they want to make. So try and find a good one, and then in some of the things that you don't understand, speak to them, let them explain it to you. Because there's so many paperwork that goes with this thing. But they are very, very simple things once you understand them. It took a while for me to understand some of these things. Even now, some of those things I don't understand them, just let the solicitors deal with it. They know what it means. Then once you've done that, then you do your application, your mortgage application process formally. So you now go to the bank and tell them, yes, your offer has been accepted, so you want to do the process of application. Then they make a formal application. Most of the time, because you have it in principle, then you're going to have, most of the time, you get it. You will get it. And once you're getting the mortgage, at the time they're filling a form for applications, they will tell you about insurance. And this is what it comes up with. life insurance. You're going to have income protection, which are very, very good things to have in case something happens. As Africans, we don't like anything about death. We don't want to hear anything about death. When they say life insurance, we tell them that God is our insurance, but it's very important to have it because we never know. But we might say one live to 100 and then you live to 70. But you don't want to leave your family in jeopardy or in distress. You want to make sure that everything is covered. So you get that, and then the house is covered. But most of the time, the mortgage company will not let you have it without an insurance. You must have an insurance to protect it because they want to get your house. And if the worst now happens and you're not able to, if something happens, they come back and get the house. If you're unable to make the repayment, then they start chasing you, which you don't want. So please, let's put all of this into the perspective. Then again, once we have the house, it's very good when you buy a property. I'm going ahead of myself to always have an insurance because sometimes things do go wrong. You know what happens every year? We have, what's it called? This flood every year. And if you live in a place like that and you don't have insurance and you have to flood it, there's a lot of money lost. And sometimes you're not able to buy the things that you've had before. So if you have properties and anything damages in your flat or your house, if you don't have insurance, you're not able to get it. And again, sometimes if you have properties, then you are insured. If there's theft or anything, you can actually call the insurance company and then get your money. Sometimes there's damage, you can get them. So there's so many things that insurance is good for us. And again, sometimes it's discouraging because you have a property possibly for 25 years you're paying, and the first 5-10 years, possibly nothing happens. So a lot of people think, I don't think the insurance is needed. Then possibly the 12th year, something happens to your boiler, you need to buy a brand new boiler, and they give you a fee of 5,000. Then you begin to worry. So please, let's just go on with it. Get insured. So while we do that, then we do what I call a mortgage valuation. So the mortgage company will actually go out there, the lender, they go out and value the properties. Sometimes when we are, I don't want to use the word desperate, I've seen it where some of my friends have gone out there and they wanted to buy the property and the property is overpriced. There's a saying in the property market that a house is only what someone is willing to pay for it. If someone says the house is worth 250,000 and I feel the house is not worth 250,000, that's okay. It doesn't mean the house is not worth, but I don't feel it's worth 250,000. Someone else might come and say the house is worth 250,000 and they pay 250,000 for that. But when the mortgage lender now comes, they do a valuation on the house. And if they do a valuation and possibly you agree to 50,000 and they come out and say the house is 230,000. If the lender, if the seller does not reduce the value of the property, the lender will still not give you more than 230,000. Then so you've got to sort of make up. If you're desperate to buy the house, you've got to look for the 210 to 20,000 for difference, or you look for other property. But I've seen several times where you sell so many people that they've thought that the value of the house is 250,000 because they've made an offer and the lender has come and said that the house is 230,000, so they've made a savings of 20,000 potentially on the property. So it's a good thing sometimes when it's done. So yeah, it gives us, and sometimes when we do that, what it does is that it gives a good check of what's happening around the area sometimes, the kind of the roof type, everything that is required to know. I remember the house I was talking about when I made the one in UO West. When I got there, it was damp in the house. And I was telling the guy that I wanted to sell the house that this house has gone damp. But because I have friends that does this property stuff, they went in and said, no, it's not really a problem. It's what we can work with. 4,000 to complete. And the guy said he's not going to take 4,000 off the price. And I said, how do I pay for damp in your own house? I've not even bought the house. I'm budgeting 4,000 to repair the house. So I said, I'm going to pull out. But he said he wasn't going to reduce it. By the time I bought this, I already made an offer on this one, and I made a deposit. He came back and said he's going to give me 4,000. I said, no, he actually offered 10,000, but then it was late because I already moved on. So please, sometimes the surveys are good, all those things are good because it gives you a good information on what is happening within the house and the area. Sometimes they look at mines, what's it called? There's going to be any construction, landslide, everything. So it's very important. So you do a survey and everything, then it makes it go so you have all the information. Then sometimes when you buy a house, there might be a bit of leak in the roof. They tell you from the onset. They give you an idea if what it's going to cost you. And sometimes if there's been what's it called? Landslide and the house is tilting. Now if the house is tilting, it's not a problem. It just means it's going to cost a little bit of money. That's all it's going to be. It's going to cost a bit of money to bring it up to speed and everything. There's so many things that it can do. If a house got damp, does not mean you cannot do it. It might be there's a leak somewhere. It might be there's water coming in, and people can always work on that. But it's good to know what it's going to cost you. But you don't want to buy a house and you think you're going to spend 4,000, then you have a bill of 10 or 15 or 25,000. Then we begin the conveyancing process. So there's the process of offer being accepted, and then things are moving quickly. Once you get to this place, then things begin to move quickly. So once you make the offer, and then the solicitors here, all this have been done by the solicitors. Once you've gotten them engaged, the solicitors speak to you, they begin to send you loads of paperwork to fill and everything, and then you go from there. After that, contract is drafted. So once the contract is drafted, it gives you an idea of when the exchange is going to be done, once it's going to be completed. You have all the dates, and those dates are very, very important. It's very, very important. So please work on those dates. So you can give you a title deal, the contract, everything is done. So once you have those information will give you the time. So based on the time scale, you know where you're going to complete, and you can start working to that. So they now confirm to you the property. The solicitor will confirm the property details, what's it called. So every extra what you need to do. One of the things that I forgot to do to say this. Now in the pricing, I know right now that we don't have what's it called, the stamp duty. Stamp duty is very important as well. It's always 1% of what the property value is. I think before it used to go up to 250%, and up to 250,000. Sorry, you're paying 1% for a first property, and then it becomes 2% after that. So if you want to be a property guru or expert, or you want to buy so much, please remember this as well. So if you're buying a 350,000 property, remember you're paying 3,500. But at the moment, because of the coronavirus, stamp duty has been abolished. Excuse me, for now. So a lot of people are buying properties, are trying to buy properties quickly because of the low interest rate, and there's no stamp duty. But the problem is, the flip side is this. A lot of companies, a lot of lenders now are asking for 15% deposit. Before it used to be between 5 and 10%, because they don't want a lot of people with money, like Muiz and UM that have plenty money, to come and buy all the properties. So they've decided to increase the deposit to 15%, so that by the time the market is over, they will not try to play upon people like us that we are upcoming. So which is a good thing. It's always a balance and check in the system. So please, while you're buying, remember all of this, and just you know, the system, the law changes based on what's happening. Please, let's just do our own research and always find out from anybody. If there's anything you can, most of this information are online. Speak to your solicitor, speak to your lender, speak to your agent, and then they'll give you all this information. Sometimes when you're buying the fencing, the limit of fencing, the gardening and everything, it plays a role. You know, sometimes if you're buying like a flat and you're having like what's it called? You're gonna look at what the ground rent is. Then you're gonna look at what the what's it called? What the maintenance cost is. Because sometimes with a flat and you're buying like in a huge flat, like sometimes a lot. Because I have a flat that my flat is 66, number 66, and every 6 months I pay about 1,200. on maintenance. And so when you're buying a flat, look at that, because when you're buying a freehold, which you own the land, you own everything, you don't have to pay much. You don't have to pay maintenance, especially to the leaseholder, possibly just pay a bit. But when you have a leasehold, the leaseholder charges you on that, and they pay maintenance at this. So all those costs are what you're going to phantom it. If I'm paying 1,500 for mortgage in London, and I want to move to, let's say, Sheffield, and I'm going to be paying 1,300, but I'm buying a flat, and I'm going to be paying 1,200 every 6 months for maintenance. I'm going to look at that to see whether it's worth it and so many things. That's why. Anyway, so the solicitor as well, we perform searches to make sure that you can meet up with the requirements, the land registry, and this. I'm going to give you one, I'm going to give you a story which myself and some of my friends, that's one of the companies we have in London, and just a group like us, just friends, and we decided to buy this land. So we bought a few lands and we're building on it. And then right at the end, we had two bungalows on it. And then we got someone to change it, and we decided to build five 3-bedroom houses on it. Along the line, the place is in Maidstone. Along the line, we got a call from the council. So we went there, because I'm company secretary, we went there, we started out thinking they're going to make us an offer to buy the land. So we're planning on how we're going to charge them and all the stuff. So, in our mind, they wanted to buy. But by the time we got there, they were telling us that, did we not know that there's a charge on that land? And what they have on that land is that there's an access that needs to be paid for. And our solicitor did not see it. And it's a product of what is going to be built on that land. That's what determines it. If we had known that it was when we bought it, a 2-bedroom bungalow on it would have been cheaper. Because of what was built on it, just to get access to that place, they were asking us for £120,000. So please let the solicitors do all this research. They know how to do it. And in that case, because it was negligence on the side of the solicitor, we're still working on that. It's the solicitor that has to pay. They have insurance that covers that. So because the solicitor failed in his duty to see or to identify that there was a charge on the land, then they will have to make payment for that. Because if you buy property, you've done your homework and everything, and then you have an unexpected bill of £120,000, man, I'm not sure a lot of us will be able to deal with it. So then once the mortgage is confirmed, let me be strict of my time. Yeah, once the mortgage is confirmed, then we get the offer, the terms and everything, and then we can move to exchange contracts and get our insurance done, and then we've got to do the building and content insurance. If you reside in a place, you can do a building and content. But if you rent it out, most of the time you do only a building insurance. The owner of the place can do the content. So you want to do the boiler and all the stuff. There are so many kind of insurance out there. I know that your agent and so many people will be able to guide you on how to go about it. Then you sign the contract, you get to the end. I said they will have given you the time to sign the contract. Once you sign the contract, you agree on a moving date, and then you're going to be moving. It's always a fantastic day because the agents are very happy. They are getting their money. The commission is coming in. It was a new build. They are happy they've made the sale. Commission is coming in for everybody. Then, so you have a provisional moving date, exchange contract, like you said, everything. There's some charges, like when the lenders, when the solicitors do the draft, they'll give you like a breakdown of how much you're going to need, what the stamp duty is going to be, what they might even call a CHAPS transfer. To make the transfer, they charge for that. Everything is explained in the bill they're going to give you. So please ensure that you have all this money ready, because if the money is not ready, they will continue to charge you, because you already have a contract and they will charge you so much. These lawyers in this country, God have mercy, they will charge you because they work on time. So once they're dealing with your case, they're charging you for that case. Some of them will charge you a particular amount. Some of them will charge you a weighing amount. It's good to have a fixed amount so that you don't just keep paying. Please just do your research, you're going to be fine. then yeah, then you can advise everyone that you're moving to your new mansion. Then the day you're going to move in, or before then, you do the meter reading to make sure that the agent or anybody that is there before you have to pay, you can start fresh. Then you can do it again. Yes. So you can inform everybody that you're moving. Then you now do a redirection of mail. What people normally do is that, what a lot of people do is that if you move to a new place, you can get your mail forwarded from your old place to your new place so you don't miss anything for the first 6 or 12 months. Then you have everything intact and you don't lose out on anything. Then remove vows, everything. And then, yeah, that's all about it. So you complete, and that's it. So once you complete and everything is done, then you're done with that. It's a very, very simple, but a very, very rigorous process. You're doing it for the first time. There's a lot of questions, a lot of form filling. Please prepare for that. A lot of form filling. Sometimes it takes a lot of time, especially if you're, like I said, house hunting. Like I said, my wife checked about 100 houses. I only check about 2 or 3 or 4. It's the one that she likes, I go and check. I really don't have time. So sometimes if you're the only one, you might have to check that much amount of houses to meet to see the one that meets your need. But with time you will see one. So that's it with the UK property market. I'm just going to move straight to the Nigerian one. The Nigerian one is actually very interesting. So I'm going to go to the Nigerian one. Is it okay to move on straight away? I still have about 10 minutes.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. This is the one I love, because this is one where creates more money. So we're going to talk about Nigeria. Now we know that in Nigeria, up to tomorrow, we have a lot of people that are looking for accommodation. Accommodation is actually short in Nigeria. Now when we talk about accommodation, there are different classes of accommodation. So they say about 1 and 2 million people are living in urban areas and they are still looking for houses. If you build a house in Nigeria now, it is not enough. So people are looking for developers and looking for people to be able to build houses in Nigeria. Now, again, with this one, there are different kind of investments or ways of getting or starting up in Nigeria. Now here, if you want to build a house, you don't have the money, then you can get to a bank. Most of the things in Nigeria are always cash markets. So there are different ways to sort of start off. A lot of people do land banking. I will explain what that means. Then we can do real estate. Then we can do hotels. Then we can go to hostels. What's it called? Event centers, and then agricultural stuff. Now, land banking is, I know a lot of us will possibly have lands in Nigeria. Now, a lot of people start with, when they want to start, because of the capital intensiveness of the stock. So a lot of people buy land and keep it for a while. So that's what's called land banking. Buy land, keep it for a couple of years, and resell it. So they might buy 10 plots, 1 acre, 2 acres, 5 acres, sell part of it, and get the profit to build. Because in Nigeria, you buy a plot of land today, by next year, it's gone up. So that's the first one. So that's the way of generating money. Although we have companies now in Nigeria, banks actually give mortgages of 25 years. But most of the time, they want to make sure you're in Nigeria. They want to make sure you're in Nigeria. They can sort of, just like here, if you're in Nigeria to get a mortgage here, you will try. Except you have a 30 to 40% deposit. And they want to make sure that what you are doing in Nigeria can really pay for it. But they will have gotten a lot of their money from the deposit. They will ask you up to 40% deposit, depending on the bank anyway. If you want to buy in America from here, they will ask you to pay a huge deposit because they cannot verify, although they will liaise with the bank, with your bank here to do that. But the same thing in Nigeria as well. For Nigeria, the banking system is very, very hard. You don't want to go and get a loan when you don't, because the repayment sometimes will tie the neck. So a lot of people start with land banking. To buy land sometimes around their villages, around their areas. They buy huge, vast amounts of land, sell part of it, then the capital, they can use it to start somewhere. Then real estate, you can start sort of, you have enough money, start buying 1, 2, 3, 4 houses, and then you can rent them. The difference between Nigeria and here is this, and this is the key. Buy a property here, you leave it for a while. There's a theory that states that every 10 years, house prices almost doubles, or it doubles. So you buy a house for 100,000, next 10 years, it gets to 200,000. In Nigeria, you buy a property, you rent it, and you start collecting your money straight away. So you have a cash economy, you are generating money from there. If you buy property here and rent it out, you got to pay tax on that. So you pay your tax on that. And let me talk about the tax. The tax in the UK before used to be that when you rent out properties, they used to deduct all the expenses and everything. As that now, they deduct from the whole. So what that means is this: if you buy property and your rent is £500, and your mortgage is 500, your rent is 1,000. So you have like a 500 window of profit. Before they used to take that, you pay your rent out of it, especially the rate up to interest only. So sometimes, so let's say it's £500 for example. So you pay your mortgage £500, and you have a profit of £500. They used to tax you on £500. But now the system has changed whereby they tax you on the whole lot. So even if you run out of loss, whereby possibly you had a leak, and there was a time where there's something wrong with the taps, you do painting, they will still charge you on that. So if you want to invest in more than one property here, please do your research so that you don't run problem with tax, because they will tax you. So in Nigeria, anyway, so you go to real estate, hotels, if you have money, hostels. And I can tell you one of the easiest one, event centers or hostels. There's a lot of universities in Nigeria now whereby they don't build hostels anymore. And hostels make a lot of money. Hostel is actually the easiest way that a lot of people make money in Nigeria now. Hostel and event center. The problem with event center is that in busy towns and cities, you don't really get those lands. And if you're going to get that land, it is very, very expensive. You will not be able to pay for it. But hostels around universities, you can, and you rent it out. Imagine renting a hostel out for 200,000 and you have 100 rooms, 30 million like that every year. So, but sometimes we start small and then we get there. Then, so this is what we do: purchase and sale of landed property. Okay, this is someone. Oh, okay, property money. So the things that you can do in Nigeria for people that you can make money. All those things, and that has to do with money. Property in Nigeria, you can make money from that. There are some people that do what they call total solution, whereby assuming you want to buy a property now. Let me use example. I want to buy property in Lagos. It doesn't have the time. There's no one there. They'll buy. It tells them where he wants to buy. They go there and buy the land for him. They can do the fencing and do They do the fencing and do the paperwork, and it's secured, so that it doesn't have to go. Or you don't want to use an uncle that's going to be taking the money away from you and not doing anything. There's some people that when you want to buy, they just build the whole place. They can do the building. You do the design. They charge you on the design. They tell you what it costs from the onset. And as it goes on, every phase, they ask you for money. They continue to build it. And they show you the evidence. You can send people to head there. But they do the thing and it's on time. Then again, what's it called? Which I didn't have to talk about. So the land banking, the construction of commercial and everything. So depending on what you want, you can construct residential buildings if you have enough money. Like I said, it's more than enough. People need houses in Nigeria. Land banking, so you can start from land banking, then go to residential building, then you can go to construction of commercial centers, and then you go into management if you want. A lot of people have event centers. Event centers are very, very good in Nigeria. You can have event centers being busy from Wednesday to Sunday. There's always a party. There's always a party. There is always a party. And sometimes a lot of people don't want to use the houses now. So there's always party everywhere. So it makes good money. But like I said, the problem is when you want to start, it's getting a good location whereby people want. There's some problem. I was in Nigeria in January for a party. And I think the place took only 400,000, 400 people. And they're asking us about 1 million for the place. We're only going to use it for a couple of hours. They're asking for 1 million. So it depends. So it depends on what you want and where you want it. So what we're saying is this. People always ask, what's the best time to acquire land, or what's the best time to actually buy property? Now is the best time. Now is the best time. Every time is now, because now is always the best time. And what we need to remember is that sometimes while we're sort of thinking to do that, other people are doing it. Remember when I started this a couple of years ago, that's what they told me, and I sort of acted on it. So thank you very much. Well, I think I've stuck to my time.
Oh, it's perfect timing. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you very much. So any questions, please?
I think there will be a number of questions. Has anyone got any questions they would like to ask? If you want to signify by maybe raising your hand using the button, or yeah, I can see one hand up. Has anyone else got questions they want to ask? Okay, I'm going to start with Dr. Chris Ikiwete. If you can make your question succinct, straight to the point, please, Dr. Chris, and that'll be highly appreciated. Thank you. You need to unmute yourself, Dr. Chris.
Okay. Thank you very much for that presentation. That was really good. And I've had some dealings with the management of Cedarwood in Nigeria, actually. But I never knew one of us is actually in the board of that directorship there. So it's good to know. This is the whole idea of this sort of engagements and interactions. What I was going to ask, I mean, you can answer as much as you can here, and then perhaps we'll take the rest of the questions offline. What I wanted to understand is, it looks like you've touched base on property acquisition based on sort of residential purposes, and not entirely, pitching on sort of commercial acquisition or acquisition of property for sort of commercial purposes or for investment purposes, as opposed to just residential reasons. How much experience do you have in terms of that? And I've got a couple of other questions I would have asked, but I wouldn't want to take up the time for you to answer in this one here. But if you got experience in that regards, then perhaps we can gather the question together and send to the organizer, and perhaps we can get some communications from them.
Okay. Are you talking of commercial properties here or in Nigeria?
No, in UK.
In the UK.
In UK, for example, yeah. For example, if you're doing, commercial, go ahead. For example, people talk about, rent to rent, and then how you can get a mortgage, without investing too much. Or if you got equity in one of your properties, how can you maximize the equity you've got in acquiring more and more property? And how you can refurb, get a loan and bridging loan and stuff like that. I don't know how much experience you've got in that.
Okay, I have a bit of experience because I've done a lot of those. But there's someone online that actually does it. Which, if you need one, I'll get him to speak. But I'll tell you one of the things I did, so you can understand that I've done it. In 2017, I was looking at buying 2 flats. And I saw these 2 flats, and I knew that what they were asking me was a lot. So where I live, I did what I call a second charge mortgage. A second charge mortgage is just raising money from where you live to buy other properties. So I took out 100,000 from where I am, and I used it to buy 2 other properties. Now, like you said, in some of those things, the technologies are very, very easy. If you live in a residential, if you buy a house and you live there, and you want to buy another one, and you want to rent out where you are, then you want to buy a let buy. So it's going to be a let buy. So you just go to the bank and say you want a let buy. So a let buy is very easy. The mortgage is going to get is like a residential mortgage. So you are moving to another place, you are letting the one. You've already had that one. So they just give you a let-to-buy mortgage. It's the same residential mortgage. So you can move out to where you are and get a let-to-buy. So, but if you are getting a buy-to-let, so that means you want to sell, you want to, hold on, let-to-buy. So you want to rent out yours and buy another one. The buy-to-let is buy another one and then let out where you are. So most of those things are terminologies, but based on how much you have, that's what determines how much. Because if you have a first property and you've deposited 5%, the second property is 10% minimum. Sometimes 15%, sometimes 20%. I remember when I bought the two, they were asking me for 25% deposit on each because you've bought before. So, but because, and the thing is that one of the deposits was, so I just, like I said, I took out this and I got an additional loan. I was able to deposit one for £60,000 and the other one for £45,000 for a deposit. So, and another thing is this: a lot of us have properties that we can generate money from, and I'll tell you why. We've bought a property for the past 10 years. If you look at the person who bought the house, for example, 200,000, and if you do a price is worth 350,000, they'll be able to give you 90,000. They're not going to give you the full value of the money. They'll be able to give you 90,000. Although they're going to ask you so much questions. Now, the problem is this. If you're getting a second charge mortgage, the rate of interest is always higher than the first one. So you might get a mortgage for 2.5%. You might get a second charge mortgage for 7%. That's what I had, 7.9%. After 2 years, I changed it down, it went to 3.5. There's a way around it. There's a way around everything. So, but the thing you want to look at is this. If you are buying a property to rent, making it a commercial property, you want to make sure that the rent is enough to pay the loan, to pay the second charge, and meet everything, so that you don't start running around. And then you need to sort of do your forecast, like times like this, whereby there might be loss of jobs. So you want to have insurance on those things. You can do rental loss, so that once you don't have rent at a particular point in time, most of them will say you wait for 3 months. Most of these companies, insurance companies, then you can go there and then start drawing from them so that you can pay your rent. So that's how we go about it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, before I go to
Thank you.
Muhiz, can I just ask a quick question, please? Surely, you talked about borrowing money
Yes.
towards your deposit. Now, when you apply for a mortgage, obviously your mortgage is dependent on how much money you earn and how much loan you currently have or any other thing you might have that is an expense. Now, if you then go ahead to borrow money towards your deposit, would that not impact on your ability to purchase a house?
It does. I'm not saying you borrow money. You don't need to borrow money towards your deposit. Most of the time, it's your deposit. I'm doing, for example, let's say I want to buy a house for, let's say the house is 100,000 to make it easy. Now I want to deposit 10%, so which is 10,000. So I need to have minimum of 10,000 to be able to buy the property. If you have outstanding, it shows on your credit file. That's why the credit file is very important. I have, there are different kind of what's it called? So credit companies. I used Experian, and I remember when I started learning in 2003 or 2004, the advisors that we should do the one that makes a payment, because they will be able to show you everything, and if something happens to your credit file, they can tell you. So I've been paying since about 2007. I do a full payment one. So if I want to buy something, I call them up and see everything on my file. So if there's anything I need to change, anything that's going to affect me, they tell me. Now, so you don't take a look, very loan, it will show them. So, but assuming you have, for example, so you need to complete it, but you want the moving cost involved, you want everything, you can get a loan for 110,000, it's not a problem. They will give it to you if your credit rating is good. That's why your credit rating is the first thing that it's good. And assuming I've had some CCJs, I've had some before, if you speak to the credit company and tell them that you want this record wiped off, they will tell you things that you need to do to get it correct. So you don't need to take a loan for, because it will show your credit rating and they're going to deduct it. So deduct it from your expenses, and let's say you have a loan of 20,000. So that means 10,000 pounds you have, but they're going to take the 400 pounds off. Then they look at how much your mortgage is, how many children you have, your car loan, so they take everything out. So if they find out that what you have left is just going to be 25 pounds, and it's not going to be enough for you to survive every month after you get all the payments, they might refuse you.
Thank you very much. Can I call on Muiz to ask his question, please? Muiz.
Yes, thank you very much, Wayne. Yes, Shulu, thanks for your presentation. That was good. My question is relating to the mortgage, acquiring, the mortgage. I know you've talked about credit rating and all these expenses being calculated and everything, but somebody was telling me that if you want to get a mortgage, do they also consider the age of the person or the people applying for that mortgage? If you are a first-time buyer, for those that want to get onto the property ladder as a first-time buyer, do they have any age limit? Even the fact that if your credit rating is good and you have a job, a steady income, and you can afford to pay the mortgage yourself. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Yes, they do. They do. Because most of the time they calculate it to 65. Because they calculate 65 as a retirement age. So assuming I want to buy a property at 20 years old and I have a deposit. Now, once I'm able to work, there will be 25 years. So at 45 years, I've finished paying. If I want to buy a property at 50, and then they calculate it that your working ability, your last working age will be 65. So they're able to give you 15 years for mortgage, and then they ask you to get the other one as deposit. So assuming your deposit is supposed to be 5%, based on what you want to do, your deposit might be 25%. But you see, there are some companies that work it differently. But basically, that's what they do. They put it at that. Now, that is when you want to do full repayment. There are some companies that would now lend you, although most of the time for business and commercial purposes, I know that. I will ask one of my friends there. I'll ask Amos to clarify, because that's what he does. But I know that when I did the property and I said I'm not going to live there, they gave me a mortgage for 30 years. 30 years. But it's still I believe it's still because it's before my retirement age. But some people, if it's commercial, they give it to you. Because when they know that it's commercial, they're able to give it to you. But most of the time for residential properties, they calculate it your retirement age, which is 65, and ask you to look for the remaining of deposits.
So are you saying that in that case, if you like the example you gave, if you're 50 years old and you want to get on a property ladder for the first time, are you going to be paying more on your mortgage? Because you'll be calculated to pay everything within your working age.
15 years working. Yes, that's what they tend to do. I don't know. Some companies do it different too, because they are different people. Rightly, but that's what they used to do. They will calculate it like that, and you pay more because they only give you for 15 years. So that's when they feel like you're going to be working. After 15 years, you don't have an income. So that's why they do that. Let me just confirm that. Okay, Moss.
Can I just?
Am I right? No, I just want to make sure it's right. But that's what they normally do.
Can I interrupt on that? I think it's 70 years, Shulu, because I recently inquired, and it's up to 70 years if you're working in the UK.
I think retirement age is more. So if it's 70 years, it goes up to stuff. So if you're buying at 50, and you want to get a 25 years mortgage, that means you can only get 20 years.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Can I call on Yubi to ask his question?
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Officer Sholu, for the good presentation. My question is more of a generic nature. So, if someone within the group wants to buy a house, what type of service would you offer, or do you have a particular service you can offer that individual in the process? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have, at the moment, I have people that does everything. I have a broker, I have a management company, I have a management team, I have everything. At the moment, I don't have an office that is what I do, but I have people I use, and they are trusted people. I have one of them here that they're trusted, they can do it. So, as soon as you want to buy, you're looking for a place. If you tell them you're looking for a place, they can go and look for you. There's some people that does all these things they do for you, they can go and look for it. It's only going to cost you money. So you don't have time to go to Manchester. You live in London. You tell them the kind of property you want. They go to Manchester. They source the property for you. Then once you're ready, they do the booking for you. They go with you there. They take you there. You see everything. If you want a broker, I tend. Please permit me to use this. I have Nigerian brokers and I have Caucasian brokers, but I tend to prefer the Caucasian brokers. And I tell you why. You know, it is we that we're here. It's because of the what's it called? How will I put it? The laws changes all the time. It changes all the time. And these guys, because they have their way around it, it's very, very easy for them. Please permit me. That's what I tend to do that. I have a lot of Nigerian ones that I use. There are some things that when you want like to come today, Nigerians will tell you how to get it today. These guys will follow the process and they will get it. So they have, and we use them for different things. Depends. You want a commercial process that you want to follow, you want it like yesterday. You know, Caucasians will take time. So when you are buying a new bridge, you want to take forever. Go and use them. You want the one that you want to complete like tomorrow. Nigerians will finish it for you like tomorrow. Because Nigerians just want to finish the deal and go. That's how we finish the deal and go. So it depends. But everything from start to finish, they are ready.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for that, Sholu. I've got a question then. In terms of investment in Nigeria, so I take for instance a hostel. Can you give us an indication of cost? So if you're looking at I'll call it from cradle to grave. If you're to build, maybe two-bedroom hostel or something like that, what is the indication of cost?
2-bedroom. Okay.
We'll start as a start.
Okay. I'll tell you this. Now I started building. I started investing in hostel a couple of years ago. I just got into hostel just by chance. I spoke to someone here and like, where can someone invest in Nigeria? And it's said hostel. Now, what determines what it costs you is the area, and I'll tell you why. I've got my hostel is actually not in Lagos because there are no lands in Lagos, like you know. So they are in Ilorin, and I have by the federal and the states. And the land price is actually different. I bought some land, I bought 10 plots, I bought it, some of them 680,000 per plot. So I bought the 10 plots for 6.8 million. Less than 2 years, they were asking me for 1.2 to sell it. I said, I'm not selling, but I started building on it. Now it depends on what you want to build and where. Because I remember the university, the university is at Lekki. I remember what it's called, and they offered us this land. But what they do is that when they offer you the land, you build the hostel, and you manage it for 25 years. And after the 25 years, they give it to you. But you see, like in Ilorin, the hostels are between 100,000 and 300,000. That's one in Lekki. One room is 720,000 naira. Now it's in Lagos.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. You know the way you just explained. That they build it for you, and then after 25 years, you get ownership.
No.
I didn't get it.
You build it for the hostel, like they do here. You build it for the university.
Okay, all right.
They give you the plot of land as an investor, so you build it for 25 years, and you manage it, and you make your money, do whatever you want to do, do the costing, and then after 25 years, you relinquish it to the university. That's what they do in Nigeria. But the one in Lagos, the hostel, the same thing, is 720,000 because it's in Lekki. A room is 720,000 for one room for 1 year. In Ilorin, it's 300,000. So that determines what you want to build on it and how. I'll give you an example. I bought a 20 room in Ilorin that was built. The person that owned it used to be in the US, and he went to fling it. And I bought it for 14 million in 2017 or so, about. So I bought it for 14 million, 20 rooms. So I bought. But the one I'm building 40 rooms. That 40 rooms, well, because of the class and where we're building it, that one is between 70 and 90 million. Even me, I started, but I start and stop. But that one wants to take off my neck. So and that was on a 10 plot, and that one, because another thing is this: if it's on a bungalow, on the bungalow level, you don't incur a lot of cost because you're not doing decking and other stuff. But when I'm building, they are because they are self-contained. They are like the ones there. So the quality, because where I'm building, all the ones that are there, they're about 120,000 to 150,000. The one I'm building is 300,000, and we have people lined up to take it because it's just that it looks like an hotel. When they look at it, they call it an hotel. So it depends on what the land cost is. It depends on what the design is, and it depends on what you want to do. And I'll tell you this: where there are hostels, especially where they are like Ilorin now, the Federal University and the State University, they don't have hostels at all, and they have a lot of land there. So because everyone tries to build, you want yours to have a unique selling point. So when they go there, that's the first one that they see and they want to take. And because I finished what Aikola knows about, I finished the first one, and they started the second one. But that one, it just looks like an hotel. That's what it looks like. But it's costing a lot. But you make the money because I think you build 40, and you get that at the minimum rate that we calculated it, you get a minimum of 10 million a year. And that's okay. On that. So that's what determines where the land is, what you want to build on it, and the facilities that it offers.
Thank you very much. Before I call on Muhi, he's got his hand up. Does anybody else have a question? Just to give an opportunity before I call back on Muhi. Okay, we've got about 4 more minutes. Muhi, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah. I'm still here. I've not fallen asleep.
Yeah, do you want to ask a question then? Yeah.
I'm still that way. Sholu, in the commercial sector in Lagos, is there a possibility whereby someone can go to people looking to develop plots like in built up areas such like Lekki you've mentioned, maybe Lagos Island, the mainland, hold property, demolish it, and you go into contract with the people that owns the land, and you build the maybe apartments there. Then you can manage it for several years, make your profits, then give the property to them. Is that something they do in Lagos as well?
A lot of people will not allow you, because if someone comes to me and says, "Don't worry, this is your father's house. Let me knock it down. I will rebuild it to something good, and I will manage it for 25 years, and I'll give you the money," they won't allow you. It's Nigeria now. Why? Why should you buy it for 25 years? Because the thing is that they want to make money. Believe you me, I went to see a property somewhere in Bagada. When the guy said he was selling property, I was like, okay, let's buy the property. When I saw the property, I was like, this one, that property, there is no way I was going to buy. When I look at the property, I was like, it doesn't even worth a quarter of what you are calling it. But when they see that you're an investor, they will always charge you. That's number one. Because they want to make money from it. But they would rather sell it to you than get you to, because if you buy it and knock it down and manage it on their behalf, if you have all the money to do that, then you can as well buy and build yourself. And you see, most of the time, you don't want to get into this family problems. All this, it's always the problem. So it's good if you can afford it, buy the land, build it, and then sell.
Right. Okay.
Good. Thanks for that. I'm conscious of time. We've got just 1 minute, but if I call on Amos, because you've not asked any question, before I go to Dr. Chris. Amos, can you ask a question quickly?
Okay, good evening, everyone. Apologies, I'm Sholu's friend, and he invited me to join the discussion this evening. Nice to meet all of you. I'm Amos, and I work with Habitat Management Property here in the UK. And I just want to second everything that he has said. And then to Chris was asking about, commercial property investment. It's a very, very interesting investment portfolio if you're able to build it here. because here, like you said, you can actually maximize a lot of your investment, and within few years, you can actually multiply them in different fold. Property investment in the UK is very interesting, very easy. You can also be in Nigeria, wherever you are in the world, and invest here in the UK. You don't necessarily have to come to the UK or probably be resident in the UK. There are different ways we can do that. And also, like he has mentioned, a lot of things that can encourage or facilitate your investment in the property market, which is, you don't have to have all the money. Which is one thing that is good here. In Nigeria, is mostly a money bag. You have to have your money to be able to go into it. Here, you don't have to go have all the monies. Once you have what he has mentioned, your credit rating is very good, and then you have necessary things that probably can, because of time. And I think he has said a lot. I just wanted to buttress what he has said. And also, if you don't have, you can also, if you have a property in the UK, you can multiply and that's why a lot of people wonder, why the Asians, or the Indians or the Pakistanis, why do they have so much properties here in the UK? It's because they have a replicating effect of their properties. They're able to have one, they remortgage it. He mentioned something like that. You remortgage after a period of time. The money that you get, you can also use it to invest in another one, and then you can do what he has mentioned, which is buy to let. And that actually, you can build a company around your portfolio, which is very, very key. And it also helps in reducing your taxes, because if you do it as an individual, then you'll be a lot more taxed. But if you do it as a corporate organization, you can reduce your taxes and get away with a lot of things. So if you also want to, I think I don't want to bore you with every other thing, but this is what I do here in the UK. If you know people who are interested, or maybe they have a property, they want to let it, they want to manage it, they're looking for people, I can help and I can support your portfolios here, either commercial or residential. Thank you so much, and nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much, Hassan. Very, very wonderful contribution. Dr. Chris, is that something that you really want to ask? I'm just conscious of time. Make it very snappy, please. Yeah, I'm not going to find
really, just a quick one. I'm not going to take your time. First of all, I want to thank Shalu and Emos, for their time here, and I really appreciate that. And if they don't mind, I can get a couple of questions over through the organizer, and then hopefully we can take the discussions further.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
And right, okay. And my word of advice, really, on the hostels for you, Shalu, is to keep an eye on the management side, because if you miss that, then prepare for spending loads of money in the next couple of years. I'm talking from experience as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time this evening. It has obviously been a knowledge enhancing talk tonight. I have gained something, and most of the two must have gained something here as well. I did mention that this is a talk that we'll be doing every month. Next month, we're going to be doing something on property as well, and it will be on property management. Again, one of our very own guys there that runs his own company as well, going to give us a talk on that. So we do have an opportunity to still explore this subject in further detail as well. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.